My friend, before we start, let me ask you something. Have you ever carried someone else's unfinished dream without even knowing it? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you might realize you already have. Picture the western edge of Norway. Cold wind rolling in off the North Sea, salty and sharp. Red and white houses lined up like toy blocks against green fields where cows graze without a care in the world. On a small football pitch in the middle of all this quiet, a 5-year-old boy is chasing a ball like his life depends on it. Tall for his age, blonde hair, never still, not even for a second. On the sideline stands his father, only 32 years old, but his knee already aches when the weather turns. This man used to be a footballer too. His dream ended early, too early. He doesn't know it yet, standing there in the cold, but one day this little boy chasing a ball in the mud will carry that unfinished dream farther than he ever imagined possible. This is the story of Erling Haaland. But really, it's the story of a father whose dream refused to die. It just found a new pair of legs to run on. He was born on the 21st of July 2000 in Leeds, England. His father, Alf-Inge Haaland, was a Norwegian midfielder playing for Leeds United. His mother, Gry Marita Braut, had been Norway's national champion in the heptathlon, 7 brutal events, 1 athlete. 2 athletes under one roof. A boy who arrived already carrying something extraordinary in his blood. His first cry was English. His blood was pure Norwegian fire. Weeks before he was born, his father signed for Manchester City. The family packed up and moved from Leeds to Manchester. Alf-Inge was 27, strong, respected, loved by the fans. And then, almost overnight, it was over. His body gave out, quietly, without ceremony. He packed his bags and went home, back to Bryne, the small town of barely 12,000 people where he'd grown up. Tired, done, or so he thought. He built houses for a living now. He raised his family, and on weekends he drove his young son to the same football pitch where his own boyhood dreams had once lived. At 5 years old, Erling joined the youth academy of Bryne FK, his father's old club. Same grass, same wooden clubhouse. History repeating itself, except this time the boy on the pitch wasn't afraid of anyone. He didn't care how big the opponent was. He didn't care who was watching. He just wanted the ball in the net, every time. That same year, he set a standing long jump many still believe was a world record for his age group. His legs were already built like weapons. He tried handball, golf, athletics, chasing the same track his mother once ran. But football was the only thing that made him forget to eat dinner. The only game he begged to keep playing in the dark after his mother called him inside. At 17, a journalist asked him what he dreamed of. He didn't hesitate. He said he wanted to win the Premier League with Leeds United, the club his father once played for. He said he wanted more caps for Norway than his father ever earned. 17 years old, and he already believed every word of it. Norwegian football rarely makes headlines beyond its own borders. Small stadiums, small crowds. But at 15, playing for Bryne's reserve team, Haaland scored 18 goals in 14 matches. 18. 14. Numbers that don't add up unless you've seen him play. Scouts started showing up in the wooden stands with coffee cups warming their hands, watching a teenager physically bully grown men twice his size. 3 months before his 16th birthday, Bryne handed him his senior debut. Word spread fast. Molde FK came calling first, and in February 2017 he signed. His new coach's name would mean nothing to most of the world, but every Norwegian knew it instantly. Ole Gunnar Solskjær, a man who had once shared a locker room with Haaland's father for the Norwegian national team, and who had once scored the winning goal in a Champions League final for Manchester United. His father had shared a pitch with this man. Now his son would share a dressing room with him. Sometimes the doors that opened for us were unlocked by someone else, long before we ever arrived. At Molde, the boy became a man. 15 kilograms of new muscle. Faster. Stronger. Harder to knock off the ball. Solskjær later said, "No one at the club trained harder." By his second season, 17 league goals from just 17 starts. In January 2019, at 18 years old, he signed for Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. Norway had built him. Now Europe was about to meet him, and Europe got a warning it would never forget. May 2019. The FIFA U20 World Cup in Poland. Norway against Honduras. What happened on that pitch doesn't need commentary, just numbers. 7th minute, goal. 20th minute, goal. 36th minute, penalty converted. 47th, another. Halftime score, 4-0, and even Norway's own bench could barely process what they were watching. The second half was worse for Honduras. 50th minute, goal. 67th, goal. 77th goal, 88th goal. Deep into stoppage time, one more. 9 goals, 1 player, 1 match. Norway won 12-0, the biggest margin and the most goals by a single player in the history of the tournament. He was 18 years old. After the final whistle, a reporter walked up expecting a celebration. Instead, Haaland looked almost irritated. He said one thing was bothering him. He'd missed a chance with his very last kick of the game. 9 goals, and all he could think about was the 10th. That might be the exact moment the world understood who they were dealing with. 4 months later, his Champions League debut. Salzburg at home against Genk. 2nd minute, goal. 34th minute, a clean run through on goal, calmly finished. Final minute of the first half, another. A hat-trick before halftime, on his very first Champions League appearance. No one had ever done that before. Salzburg won 6-2. Europe had been warned. Now it was watching, wide-eyed. January 2020, Borussia Dortmund. Yellow and black, one of Germany's giants. His debut came off the bench against Augsburg. 20 minutes on the pitch, a hat-trick. That became the rhythm of his time in Germany. Goals almost every week, records falling almost every month. Then came the night Dortmund fans still talk about in hushed voices. Champions League. Round of 16, February 2020, against Paris Saint-Germain. 19 years old. 0-0 for 69 long minutes. Then the ball found him at the near post, 1 touch, into the net, 1-0. Neymar equalized 6 minutes later. 2 minutes after that, Dortmund attacked again. The ball reached him at the edge of the box, and he struck it low and hard into the top corner. The goalkeeper never moved. Haaland ran to the corner flag, sat down on the grass, crossed his legs, and closed his eyes like a monk deep in meditation, while 80,000 fans screamed around him. The image traveled around the planet within hours. By 2021, he had his first major trophy, the German Cup. He kept shattering Champions League records, fastest to 10 goals, fastest to 15, fastest to 20. Everyone understood Dortmund was only a chapter, not the ending. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Manchester United. Every giant in world football lined up for his signature. But when the decision finally came, there was only one club that made sense. Not because of the money, because of unfinished family business. Rewind now, back to the 21st of April 2001, Old Trafford, Manchester. Alf-Inge Haaland wore sky blue that afternoon, Manchester City facing their fiercest rivals. Late in the match came a challenge against Roy Keane that would be replayed and argued over for decades. Alf-Inge got up, finished the game, even played on for a while after. But an old injury in his other knee had been quietly destroying him for months. His body couldn't hide the truth forever. The following season, he made just 4 substitute appearances. 2 more years of trying to fight back, and then it was over. He was 30 years old. He went home to Bryne, built houses, raised his family. Somewhere in that house, a 9-month-old boy slept peacefully, with no idea what his father had just lost. 21 years later, that same boy signed his name on a Manchester City contract. Some signatures start a career. This one closed a circle that had been open for 2 decades. Summer 2022, roughly 60 million euros, a fee that already looked like a bargain the moment ink hit paper. City gave him the number 9 shirt, the same sky blue his father once wore on that pitch, 21 years earlier. His father had left Manchester with a story unfinished. His son came back to write the ending. And what an ending it became. His debut season wasn't just good, it was the greatest debut season English football had ever seen. 36 Premier League goals. No one had ever scored that many in a single season before. 52 goals across every competition. The Golden Boot, the European Golden Shoe. And City didn't stop at the league title. They won the FA Cup. Then in June 2023, Istanbul, the Champions League final against Inter Milan. A tight, nervous match. Nearly 70 minutes without a goal. Then Rodri struck from outside the box in the 68th minute. 1-0. Manchester City lifted the Champions League trophy for the first time in the club's history, and Haaland lifted it right alongside them. 3 trophies. The treble. Only one other English club had ever managed it. Manchester United in 1999, under Sir Alex Ferguson, with a certain Ole Gunnar Solskjaer among the heroes on the bench. But one dream still refused to arrive. One shirt that had never taken him where he truly wanted to go. The Norwegian national team, and a World Cup. Norway hadn't qualified since 1998, before Haaland was even born. His father made it there only once, in 1994. For years, Haaland carried the weight of an entire nation on his shoulders. He became Norway's all-time top scorer, while still in his early 20s. But the World Cup drought stretched on. 28 years of silence. He wanted to be the one to finally break it. Now, my friend, this next part is still being written as we speak, in the middle of the 2026 World Cup. So by the time you're hearing this, more chapters may already exist. But one chapter already belongs to history books. 5th of July, 2026. Round of 16. Norway against 5-time champions Brazil. On paper, no contest. But Norway had a weapon no scoreline could predict. 79th minute. A cross whipped into the box. Haaland rising above a wall of Brazilian defenders, meeting it clean with his forehead, the ball dropping past the goalkeeper. Norway 1, Brazil 0. Brazil pushed everything forward, desperate, and that desperation opened space behind them. 90th minute, Haaland again, one touch, body opened. A low hard strike slipping between a defender's legs and past a diving goalkeeper. Norway 2, Brazil 0. The 5-time champions were staring at an early flight home. Neymar pulled one back from the penalty spot in the dying seconds, but there was no time left to matter. The whistle blew. Norway had beaten Brazil. And then came a celebration only Norway could deliver. Thousands of fans in the stands sitting down together, rocking their arms back and forth in perfect unison, like Vikings rowing a longship across open water. Haaland walked over, was handed a drum, struck it twice, and the entire stand answered as one voice. His father had reached one World Cup and gone home early. His son had just sent 5-time champions packing on football's biggest stage. Afterward, standing in front of the cameras, his eyes were wet. He said he hoped this win would show every child in Norway that anything was possible. Somewhere, watching from home, his father saw his son finish a story he himself never got the chance to complete. 7 goals at that World Cup. Level with Messi, level with Mbappe. A boy from a village of 12,000 people, from a nation of 5 million, standing shoulder to shoulder with the greatest names the game has ever produced. Every odd was stacked against him from the very beginning, and he simply refused to accept them. Remember what he said at 17? That he'd go farther than his father ever did. He believed it before anyone else did. Born in Leeds, raised in Bryne, home now in Manchester, and the whole world finally watching. Maybe, my friend, somewhere in this story you saw a piece of your own. Someone who started something and couldn't finish it. And maybe, without even realizing it, you've been quietly carrying that unfinished journey forward this whole time. That isn't a burden, that's love, wearing a different jersey. A father began this dream on a wet pitch in Bryne. His son carried it all the way home. Tell me, which moment in this story hit you the hardest? Do you think Norway can go all the way in 2026? If they do, it would be the greatest gift a son could ever hand his father. Drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. Until next time, take care of yourself. And when the night falls, come back and find me here.